KFC is the most well-known chicken restaurant. When we think of fried chicken wings, our minds automatically go to KFC restaurants. Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, is famous around the world for its fried chicken. Do you want to know the fascinating backstory behind KFC? So, here is the amazing history behind KFC's success. Some entrepreneurial myths hold that you must start at an early age to be a successful entrepreneur. However, the owner of KFC has disproved this claim. It's never too late to start something new, to do all the things you've been dying to do. Harlan Sanders was born in Henryville, Indiana, in 1890. His father died when he was 5 years old, forcing his mother to work. While she was at work, Harlan looked after his two siblings and cooked meals for them. His mother remarried when he was 12 years old. However, his stepfather was opposed to having stepchildren. So, after a year, he moved out. He began working on a farm. He fed the animals in the morning, went to school, and did odd jobs in the evening every day. He dropped out of school in the 7th grade because algebra was too difficult for him. In the years that followed, he tried his hand at a variety of jobs. He worked as a streetcar conductor, an insurance salesman, a train fireman, a steamboat operator, a tire salesman, and a lawyer are all examples of occupations. He also tried other jobs but was unsuccessful in all of them. First breakthrough in 1930. Sanders took a job as a gas station attendant in Corbin, Kentucky, in 1930. He cooked and served food to his customers to supplement his income. He offered fried chicken and other childhood favorites here. People from all over came to taste his cuisine as news spread about it. Because his chicken was so popular, he finally removed the gasoline pumps and transformed the gas station into a full-fledged restaurant. The governor of Kentucky bestowed upon him the title of Kentucky Colonel in 1936. By 1937, he had expanded the business to include a hotel and a cafe, Sanders Courts and Cafe, with 142 seats. Cooking fried chicken took around 30 minutes, which was a huge issue for Sanders because fried chicken was his best-selling food item on the menu. To solve this issue, he used a pressure cooker instead of deep-frying the chicken, reducing the cooking time to 8 to 9 minutes. This aided him in selling more fried chicken. He kept experimenting with his chicken recipe. He ultimately refined the fried chicken recipe in 1938. The recipe contained 11 herbs and spices, which KFC has kept a closely guarded secret to this day. I dumped 2 handfuls of it into the flour and mixed it with the rest of my ingredients. When I fried it up, it was the finest chicken I'd ever had in my life. And I've never changed the ingredients since. An excerpt from his memoirs. He extended his business once more, this time in Asheville, North Carolina, by opening another Sanders Court and Cafe. A fire destroyed the Corbin restaurant in 1939. By the time it was rebuilt, World War II had broken out, limiting its consumer base, which was primarily made up of visitors. He quickly sold his Asheville location. Closure of his restaurant in 1955. His company struggled on, and in 1955 it experienced another setback. The roadway was bypassed by an interstate, reducing the number of people who used it. Sanders was eventually forced to sell his Corbin property. He was 66 years old and had to make do with a $105 monthly Social Security payment. But it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Sanders had another idea: franchise his Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe. He had previously laid the groundwork when he successfully licensed his formula to Pete Harmon in 1952. Don Anderson, a sign painter hired by Harmon, invented the phrase, Kentucky Fried Chicken. He drove across the country with pressure cookers and a blend of 11 herbs and spices in his car. He traveled across the country, stopping at eateries along the way to offer samples. After they tried the samples, he arranged franchise agreements with the restaurant owners, which normally included a 4-cent commission on every piece of chicken sold. He offered to teach them how to create it in exchange. He signed his first franchise agreement with a Utah restaurant, and by 1963, there were 600 Kentucky Fried Chicken franchisees across the United States. But the company was too large for Sanders to handle at his age. Acquisition deal in 1964. Many others attempted to buy KFC from Sanders, but in 1964, Harlan Sanders sold the company for $2 million to a group of investors led by John Y. Brown and Jack C. Massey. He sold it under the terms that quality would always be maintained, he would earn a lifetime salary, and he would always be the company's face. A lot of people have asked me why I sold my business after pouring everything I had into building it up. The answer is something like this. When Brown first became interested in Kentucky Fried Chicken, the popularity of my idea was beginning to run right over me. My business was beginning to get too big for me, no matter how much energy and time I put into it. KFC was acquired by PepsiCo in 1986. By 1970, the number of shops had grown to 3,000 in 48 countries. Brown sold KFC to Hoobline, a food packaging and beverage company, for $285 million in 1971. Harlan Sanders passed away in 1980. At the time of his death, there were 6,000 KFC locations in 48 countries. R.J. Reynolds, a cigarette company, bought Hoobline in 1982 and sold KFC to PepsiCo for $850 million in 1986. Many new items were introduced after PepsiCo acquired the company. In 1991, the name KFC was officially adopted. PepsiCo split out its restaurant business, which includes KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut, into Tricon Global Restaurant Incorporated in 1997. In May 2002, the combined firm relaunched as Yum!